All right, we're back. The third segment of the Big and Tall Movie Review Show. Maximus is our horror guru, as most of you know, and he has seen the Lords of Salem. This is Rob Zombie, the heavy metal artist / director. His newest film, which I think still may be playing in some areas of the country, but probably headed to DVD soon.
Hard to find a screening on this one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but I think this one stars his wife, Sheri Moon Zombie, or is that correct?
That is, yeah.
And
it's kind of his go-to
actress. She's worked with him before. Halloween 2, some of these other films that he's done. What can you give us on this one? Is this what the direction-wise? What do you think of this film overall?
Well, other than his, he did a cartoon called Haunted World of El Super Beasto. But other than that small project, this was his first movie, I think, that wasn't Halloween or Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses franchise.
So he's kind of breaking free a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of tried to, it seemed like he was trying to change up his style a little bit. It was a little bit more of a slow burn kind of a movie where it wasn't all just
here it goes,
constant
hang on tight.
First frame, although it was pretty extremely graphic when it got down to business. I really enjoyed it. I think a lot of people have had a hard time swallowing it because there's some pretty intense subject matter.
Yeah.
And violent acts and things, and he really kind of didn't use any CG that I could tell. There was a lot of just physical special effects going on.
As far as the overall action, this is kind of like this. They say the story's like
the story
like
is
this DJ radio. I guess Heidi, who is like a Sheri Moon, gets a box containing a record, or something.
It's a mysterious present that's delivered to her, and she works at this. She's the DJ on this gothic style radio station, and plays this record that is this very eerie, old time sounding cultish music that ends up entrancing a bunch of the women in this town.
Oh, really?
Kind of sounds like The Ring or something when you put in the tape or something.
Well, it was a very hard movie to follow kind of until you see what the grand scheme is about 2/3 of the way through. But it was very creepy. There was a lot of, like I said, Kubrick-style filming techniques and
wide screens with small focus on something small, widescreen type setup.
Capitalize a lot on using lighting for effects and sound effects for creepy feelings. But I really liked it, and it wasn't 2.5 hours long, so you could get through it.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. It sounds kind of interesting.
Very intense.
Yeah, I'm kind of interesting. It's like, so the Lords of Salem is being like what, Salem, Massachusetts is kind of where this is.
Yes, it was tied in heavily with the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for.
The Lords are kind of the witches and slowly kind of taking possession of over the town's women of Salem.
Yes. And I wonder if this was a book, or did he just kind of, he probably just I
think he usually adapts his own other than the Halloween
stuff, he usually kind of adapts his own stuff.
Writer Rob Zombie.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Well, he can write a good rock song, so he's it sounds pretty interesting take. I like the name a lot.
I think he dropped out of the another Blob remake project to pursue this film.
Yeah.
So we can thank God for that.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I think I would probably give it a 4-can rating.
The 4-can rating for the horror film, The Lords of Salem, and his wife's very attractive gal, so she's definitely got this horror thing down. She was was she in the Red State, or no? She wasn't.
No, that was Kevin Smith.
Okay, well, I knew Kevin Smith directed it, but I wasn't sure if she was in that.
And she is. She's dressed pretty sexily throughout the whole movie. So if you're a Sheri Moon fan, then you will want to seek this one out.
All right, well, I definitely might have checked this out. But I did get a chance to check out The Last Stand, which was Governor Schwarzenegger's return to the big screen with Johnny Knoxville and Forrest Whitaker plays an angry somebody in it who's angry the whole time and nothing's going right.
They could have chopped him out of the movie.
Luis Guzman. Always
he was just
see.
frustrated. I mean, I felt like giving him
really didn't accomplish anything. And then
Forrest Whitaker needs some medication or something, or either that he need to go hit somebody.
I never thought he was really as great of an actor as he gets credit for.
He was great in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Still wreck his Trans Am, but no, The Last Stand. I thought it was a good comeback field movie for Arnie, kind of playing his, but he did play himself as older
rundown.
Rundown. Besides the big ending where they kind of magically tried to do him up a little more than I think he is. I think they could have ended it different. If I was directing him, I would have ended it different. But I like for the fact that for 85 to 90% of the movie, he's kind of playing like he's worn out guy that's trying to stop this drug cartel guy from getting across the Mexican border. But what did you think of it, Max? I mean, just
I thought it was definitely enjoyable and entertaining. There wasn't any boring parts in the movie.
Yeah, it was kind of like had an old school feel to it too, which is what you're wanting,
There was no big shocks in it.
No, I mean, Arnold doing his thing and just kind of
He didn't say "I'll be back."
No, he didn't say "I'll be back," and I thought they had Knoxville in it just enough because he's one of them guys you get him going too much.
Little Knoxville goes
a long way too, but
that's always good too. I always like seeing Luis Guzman in a movie.
Yeah, that guy's gonna be around forever.
He always brings something to the table. I mean, he was always the bartender in Boogie Nights. That was always in the background.
He's always a great comic
I can
relief.
do this movie. Let me be in this movie.
Yeah,
I want to make love. All right, but I don't know as far as cans go on The Last Stand. I'd probably go 3.
I'm right with you there. I would say it's a solid 3 can territory there. This movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
I thought they did a real.
Nobody went and saw it at the theater.
I thought they did a real poor job marketing this movie.
I don't know if it was him and his nasty divorce or just the whole end of everything, but nobody went and saw this.
This was pretty bloody for.
Yeah,
too.
I mean
they didn't skimp on the blood or anything. It was,
so I'm wondering about Arnold's box office pool if it's toast. I mean, you don't act for a long time and have a nasty divorce that was all his fault pretty much, and then
having a love child with the maid.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this.
It's all old news at this point.
I can remember seeing the trailers for this, and it looked just kind of very.
But Arnold also attracts the more conservative fan, and this sort of bad. I'm just surprised more older people didn't go to the box office to see this because this is just straight up Arnold.
I'm thinking
old guy. I want to go see that, but
I'm thinking this will be one of those ones that people will get on DVD and they're going to be surprised, and it's going to probably get a little bit of a following.
Yeah,
I just thought the advertising, the trailers for this movie
I don't
were
think
weak.
they did.
It came out like a week after Stallone's bullet to the head steamer. So
I thought the bullet to the head was
that didn't help. It was.
I
think bullet to the head was
gone
actually.
to see that and then thought maybe Arnold
and it did
isn't
better
fool
than
me
bullet
into
to the
this.
head by $2.
It didn't take much.
All right, Mark, what do you got for us? You got some information.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't do a can review on The Last Stand.
Yes. What you I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'll give it about 3.5 cans. I think I was expecting to like it less than you guys were, but I was pleasantly surprised. So.
Okay, so what we got going on here with any films that you've seen? DVDs?
Yeah, I saw the Matt Damon starred in Promised Land. This brings back the team of Gus Van Sant, Matt Damon, as well as Matt Damon, the screenwriter.
Gus Van Sant, I haven't heard that name
in
a while.
And the running joke kind of was for years with Good Will Hunting that, which had all those guys plus Ben Affleck, that he really never did contribute or anything. And
he was just a pretty face or whatever.
Yeah. And
because I wasn't with a hooker today. Ha ha! Act like you don't bomb in Phantom, Joe!
But judging by the results of this film, Affleck, I think, was a major component of Good Will Hunting because this one is just real dry.
Really?
Damon plays basically kind of a guy that's trying to buy up farmland so they can drill for natural gas and is kind of trying to fleece people. And it's got this was also co-written and co-stars John Krasinski from The Office.
Yeah.
As a guy that comes in and opposes him. It's got Frances McDormand's also in it.
Now that show's off, I hope that he gets a little more work.
So I mean,
I think he's gonna slowly disappear.
The acting was real good in this, but the story just moved at a snail's pace. And I don't know, it didn't do much. There was a nice little twist at the end that I didn't see coming, but this one was, I would go, 2.5 cans on it. It just
one other DVD here before we end up in the show, and that is the return to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre format. This one's been done a few times. What can you give us about this one, Max, this horror film?
Well, it was a sequel to the original movie, which was interesting.
Yeah, always one of my faves.
They set it up. They kind of run through with the events of the first movie in the opening credits as a refresher.
And
then show the townspeople in an angry mob kind of end up burning down the
family's house.
Crazies.
Yeah. Leatherface's home, etc., etc.
Right, but one family member manages to escape with her newborn baby. And the baby ends up getting abducted by a couple of the townspeople, and then it cuts to 28 years later, where she has grown into a extremely attractive young woman, Alexandra Daddario. And that's kind of where the movie picks up her trying to track down her actual roots once she finds out that she is not the actual daughter of her parents.
Well, that's interesting. So, and I assume, does this still kind of follow the cannibalistic themes of the old one a little bit, or is it kind of more of just
Well, it's kind of taking place after the whole
incident was over with.
Right, so it's like the people in the town know the history of the family and think it's all in the past, but turns out things have just been kept under wraps
for
extremely well.
As far as the town is concerned, and
Leatherface reemerges with some old habits.
Exactly. Yeah.
Another thing that I liked is that they kind of didn't have Leatherface in his young form. He was a very aged, kind of almost old man Leatherface.
Well, that would be more true to what they're wanting to do.
Exactly. So it gave it a little bit.
That is definitely one of the best horror genre films as far as that I can think of, as far as being total.
It's also got Clint Eastwood's son in it.
No kidding.
Scott Eastwood as Carl.
That's funny. Yeah, I see the resemblance now that I think about it, but didn't realize that right off the bat.
I did not know this either. Well, good call there, Big Red.
One of the criticism I had with it was that it kind of left you without anyone to root for after a certain point, because there's several good guys turning bad guys feeling that they are not, completely understood.
Yeah.
But it was much better than I thought it was going to be, as, you kind of have a certain expectation when a new Texas Chainsaw movie comes out.
Yeah, they've redone that several times, I think. I mean, I know even Matt McConaughey was in one of the remakes.
The New Generation, with Renee Zellweger.
Careful, we don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
He doesn't like people bringing that one up.
Yeah, and I guess there was one with Jessica Biel. I was always a fan of the old Tobe Hooper, the classic, with John Larroquette's narration and such.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool that they're trying to stick with this, the traditional story, and not some, Leatherface morphed from something else,
Right, yeah.
But
so I thought it was all right, actually. I think I would give it a 3.5 can rating.
3.5 can rating for the Texas Chainsaw 3D. And
the fact that it was a sequel and not a remake was a pleasant surprise.
Remaking over and over again is. But yeah, this was pretty interesting. After the first massacre in '74, the townspeople suspect the Sawyer family were responsible. It's really interesting because that first story is based on true events, so it's kind of interesting to actually look back on all of that.
Well, yeah, it's actually based on the real life serial killer Ed Gein. I think Norman Bates is actually loosely based on the same person.
All right, 3.5 cans. Well, I do believe this is going to be our show for the day. thank you all for listening. It's been our May 29th episode of the Big and Tall Movie Review Show.